ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थसुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 64, verse number 33. So these are instructions of Sri Krishna to his sons and family members about the importance of the Brahmanas and specifically how not to snatch away their wealth. And this is in reference to the story of King Nriga, who by mistake has donated a cow which he has already donated to another Brahmana. And because of that, he has to turn into a lizard for a long time. So Sri Krishna is taking this as an opportunity to educate his children so that they don't become unruly when they grow up, because they're very powerful people. So we read where he described that how if someone takes away the wealth of a Brahmana, then he will not be able to digest it. Digest it in the sense that it is going to create some trouble. Just like if you eat food and the food does not get digested, then it creates ama or toxins in the body. And then those toxins create trouble, especially some blockage in the veins, and that gives a lot of pain, especially in the knees. So, therefore he is teaching that don't do that. Shailesh, do you have some question?
Babaji, I'm still not very clear why all the fault, because of this scallop that is out, fell on the king. Because I would think that since the owner of the cow was Brahmana, who was being given
Who was?
cow.
Who was what?
So I'm thinking that what is the responsibility of this Brahmana who received the cow in donation? So if this cow got mixed with the other cows, well, I would think that he must have not taken proper care of the cow. So what is the fault of the king? And besides, he doesn't seem to have disrespected them, in a literal sense of the word, because he acknowledged the mistake and he paid respect and he offered a solution to this situation. So that's why I'm a little bit sort of unclear why such a severe punishment and why only he is to be blamed for that.
Well, we are not saying that the others are not blamed, but we are just focusing on one, that he did not make a mistake intentionally, but mistake was made. So suppose you are going on a highway and somebody cuts in front of you and you are going at a high speed, so you bang into him. So you have not made a mistake knowingly, it is his mistake, but still that is an accident. And when the police comes, you will also be responsible for it. The insurance company will also see. So all these things are involved. What happened to the Brahmanas, that has not been discussed here. It was not said that they were good men and they were just scot free. They also would have got some reaction to that. But in Bhagavatam here, Sukadeva Goswami is pinpointing the effect that happened to the king for making this mistake unknowingly, means taking away the cow. As far as not taking care of his cow, that is because you don't know how cows are kept. You think they are like modern day goshalas when they're tied. Cows were not like that. They're always in the open. They go out to graze. So it disappeared. When they go out to graze, just like Krishna was tending cows and Brahma came and stole them. So they're sitting and eating. That's how you tend cows. It's not that you're all the time walking behind them. And it's not even possible if you have more than one cow. Both cows are not just going to walk parallel. They'll go, one goes this side, another goes that side. So it's not that he was not taking care. Clear, or you have something more?
Yes, it's clear. I mean, it's clear. Only thing is that still somehow the punishment is somehow
Yeah,
very
this
severe in it.
that's exactly. So the rule of dharma are not as we think because we think in modern terminology and the justice as we see at present. Because that's our upbringing, so our minds are set like that. But here, the dharma shastras work differently. So you have to see according to the shastric injunction. Just like different countries may have different amount of punishment for the same offense. It's not that all over the world is the same constitution and same penal code. Some places there are very severe punishments. They cut the hand of the thieves, or they get flogged in public. Other places different. Other places it may happen behind the doors, and in some places it may not happen. In some countries, if you are caught with drugs, they hang you. I think in Thailand or Malaysia somewhere they have very strict punishment.
I think Singapore.
Singapore, yeah. So very strict against drugs. And then there are other countries where drug is legal. You can buy it. Krishnadas.
Yes, Babaji. Babaji, I have one question in regards to this topic. What can you delineate what does it mean to take away the wealth of a Brahmana?
What? Lineage?
Delineate, or how does it called the frame? What does it mean to take the wealth of a Brahmana? Because
What it means is that suppose you have money in your pocket and I come and I put a gun to your head and I say, give me all your money. And you give me your money, so this is called taking away your money. Or I come to your house and scare you and take away your wealth. That's what it means, taking away.
And what happened in a situation like, for example, I will put a personal example. Like, suppose that I borrow certain money to Brahman. So some Brahmana asks me, hey, can you borrow me certain money? I need to do this and that. So
Brahmana borrowed or you borrowed?
Brahmana borrowed from me.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he said, I will pay, but then it doesn't happen. So ask him the money back. He's taking away his wealth.
What is this? Are you confused?
I am confused by one reason only.
What is the confusion? You are not taking Brahmana's money? I mean, you are a Brahmana or you are not a Brahmana?
I'm not clearly.
So it is. I mean, what is? I don't understand why you are asking this question. You are not taking away the money of the Brahmana. It is Brahmana who is taking away your money.
Yes.
So you see the difference or not?
I see it, but the thing is like asking him to return it.
So you are asking for your money or his money?
No, mine.
So then why is it his money? That is your money.
Okay, and also it happens with the objects, like for example, a pen.
Anything.
I don't know, anything. Okay. It feels a little bit uncomfortable to ask for things back, but I understand what it means. Thank you very much.
Okay. So, sloka number 33, yes.
So I have a question, if Pranam Babaji, if may I ask, regarding the 25th sloka, where it is mentioned that Nriga had the desire of having the darshan of Bhagavan, and in the commentary Chakravarti Thakur says that it may be because he built a temple or gave the Gita in charity. You mentioned that that was an assumption by Chakravarti Thakur, and we see that sometimes in the commentaries, from small words or verses, long meanings coming. Sometimes it's very evident because some grammar rule or something, but in this case, even you mentioned it's an assumption. So what is the criteria, or when this is correct to do? What is the, whether there is certain liberty or freedom for the commentaries to extend?
So those who write commentary, they understand the subject matter. Because when things are being explained, then things are being described in the book. Everything is not stated there itself. It may be stated somewhere else, or it may not be stated in this book but in some other book. So there are certain principles, siddhantas of dharma, of philosophy. So those who write commentaries, they understand those and then they try to explain on the basis of that. So basic principle is that bhakti comes only because of bhakti. Like in Bhagavatam itself, it is said in 11th canto, bhaktya sanjayate bhaktya, bibhrati utpal kam tanu. That bhakti is not a material activity. Anything which is related to bhakti, Shravan, Kirtan, like his desire to see Krishna, is also bhakti. So these things cannot be an outcome of any material activity, because material activity can only give material result. Bhakti is gunatit, it is transcendental, it is spiritual. So it cannot be an outcome of anything material. So now if he is having desire to see Krishna, that means he has done something which is related to bhakti. So with that, knowing this principle, which is described in Bhagavatam itself, then he makes an assumption. It could be anything, but since he was giving charity as it is being described, so he must have given charity to Vaishnavas. And that becomes an act of devotion. And that act of devotion is now inspiring him to have darshan of Krishna. So that's the cause of this assumption. Is it clear?
Yes, but sometimes we are more like, if there is no clear evidence for what you are saying, then it's a speculation, or because, as you mentioned, bhakti comes from bhakti, and Chakravarti Thakur is a bhakta, so for sure he can reveal these kind of things. But then when it goes to the punctual philosophical point, then what is the criteria? When is...
And that's why I told you the criteria is that obviously we are not talking about some ordinary person speculating. So one who is writing the commentary is a person who understands the Siddhanta properly. So when he is making a statement, he may not be explaining it here, but as I said, that this assumption, which I said he is making a assumption. So this assumption is not just some wild guess or speculation. It is based on a Siddhanta, which I told you that is the Siddhanta. So that's why they make, and everywhere you are not going to, I am making this assumption because of this, because of that. So that's why everything needs more explanation. The book is there, why? What is the need to write commentary on it? Because certain things are not clear. Then when commentators write, they are writing at their time, 300, 400 years ago. So they are seeing the audience at that level where they can understand. Now after 300 years, what they wrote, that also is not able to understand. So then it needs more explanation. So then we are explaining that. So that's how it is written. Okay. So naham halahalam manye visham yasya pratikriya brahma swam hi visham proktam nasya pratividhir bhuvi. So Sri Krishna says that I don't consider halahala as the poison. So hala hala is the most potent poison possible. This is the poison which came out when milk ocean was being churned by the devas and asuras. And the whole world was terrified by this poison. So only Shiva could take it and contain it in himself. So he says that even this halahal poison, which is the most dangerous poison, you can die just by the smell of it. He says even that I do not consider as poison, because for that there is a solution, there is a medicine. But the wealth of a Brahmana, if you take away that, that is the real poison. He says halahalam brahmaswam hi visham proktam. He says the real poison is the wealth of a Brahmana. So therefore don't touch it. Keep distance from it. Why? He says that there is no antidote for it. He says even for hala poison there is an antidote. But there is no antidote for the wealth of a Brahmana. If you steal it, if you take it away, if you snatch it away, so means your death is sure. This means you will suffer. Any commentary on this? Take shelter of Shiva. Tadrisham visham api varam bhoktavyam natu brahmaswamitya vanirhi mulani avsheshyati. This is the next sloka. Kim durjaram annamiva na vishadapi ati tivramitya naiti. He says, what is durjara? That which cannot be digested like food, which is more intense than poison, that is the wealth of the Brahmana. Halahalam hi sambhur jaryamaseva. Halahal was digested by Shiva. Asya pratividhi pratikriya nasti. But there is no solution, there is no antidote for the wealth of the Brahmana. Hinasti vishamattaram vanniradbhi prashamyati kulam samulam dahati brahmashava arni pavaka. So he says, okay, if you eat poison, even if there is no antidote, it will only kill you. Not that it will send you to hell for 1,000 years or something. And vanniradbhi prasamyati. If there is fire, that can be quelled by water. But if you take away the wealth of a Brahmana, that is like the fire inside it, the tree, that it will burn up to the root. So therefore he is trying to show how this is more dangerous. Tadrisham vishamapi varam bhoktavyam netu brahmaswamiti ahevanirhi. So he says that even this type of poison, like halahal, it is better to take that than to take the wealth of a Brahmana. So the idea of this contrast is that never make any plan, or to speak of executing it, to take away the wealth of a Brahmana. He says, Vannirhi mulani avsheshyati. Fire is there, it can burn a tree, but at least the root will remain, then it can come up again. But Brahmaswava arani pavako hi duruksamatvad vanni vishesha. But the fire of the wealth of a Brahmana is like the arani pavaka. It's a special type of fire which comes from the arani wood that will burn not only the tree but also its root. So Puratana Tarukotra Madhyas न्यस्तवन्निर यथा कालेन अंतः प्रवृद्धो बहुवार्षिक जलैरपि निर्वाति. So he says it's just like the fire which is inside the hollow of a tree. Sometimes big trees, they have hollow part in their trunk and there is a fire inside that. So it can continue there for a long time and then go up to the root. किंतु मृत्तिका अंतर्गत मूल पर्यंतमपि तरुम दहति तथा कुलम तदपि समूलम. So this fire will burn not just the tree but go downward also, because the fire which is outside, that can only burn the tree up, it cannot go under the earth, but what is inside, that can penetrate down into the earth through the tree itself and destroy everything. So like that, the wealth of the Brahmana will destroy not that particular person but the whole dynasty can be destroyed. Brahmaswam duranugyatam bhuktam hanti tripurusham purusham prasahyatu balad bhuktam das purvan dasaparan. So if you take the wealth of a Brahmana without his permission, then it will destroy 3 generations of that person. He, his son and grandson, they will be destroyed. But if you take the wealth forcibly, prasahyam tu balad bhuktam, then das purvan dasaparan, then 20 generations will be destroyed. 10 previous, 10 future. Hari Bol. So duranugyatam iti dushabdena yathavad anugyatam iti artha. Yathavad ananugyatam. So duranugyatam means that did not take permission that I am taking this. Ayam me bandhurupkari madhanam maya khalu adattam api bhunkte ched bhuktam iti evam anugyatam. But just thinking like this, that this person is my friend, or he has good feelings about me, and madhanam maya khalu adattam api bhunkte, and sometimes he even takes my wealth without even given by me. So ched bhuktam iti evam anugyatam tripurusham. So like that he has not approved it, but you are using it and he knows it. He is not saying anything. So this is also not good. So this will destroy 3, means this will bring sinful reaction to 3 generations. Tripurusham swam putram pautram cha, oneself, the son and the grandson. But if you take by forcibly, then prasaya hatat balat rajadi ashrata. So because you have power or you are under the shelter of kingdom, you may be in the police, etc., and then you come and take away the wealth. So then 20 generations. Rajano Rajalakshmi Andha Natpatam Vichakshate Niryam Yevi Manyante Brahmasam Sadhu Balisha. Those who are kings and they are blinded by their royal wealth, so they don't see their own fall down because of their blindness. Means they don't think that if I do anything, if I take this person's wealth, I have to suffer, because they think, oh, I am a king, I can do anything. When you have power, you become blinded by that. So they say that Niryam Yev Himanyante Brahmaswam Sadhu Balisha. Says that these people are like Balisha, who think that this wealth is okay. So they are foolish, Balisha. So then you should know that they are creating the path for hell themselves. Grananti yavatah pansun krandatam ashrubindavaha vipranam hatavrittinam vadannyanam kutumbinam. So he says that if you take away the wealth of a Brahmana by force, hatavrittinam vipranam vadannyanam, these Brahmanas who are actually very generous themselves, but you go and snatch away their wealth and they're crying. So their tears fall onto the ground, and as many dust particles fall on the ground and make the particles wet, so that many years you are going to suffer in the hell. So Rajano Rajakulyascha Tavto Abda Nirankushaha Kumbhi Pakeshu Pachyante Brahmadaya Paharina. So there is a hell called Kumbhi Pak, where you are cooked alive in a hot cauldron of oil, boiling oil, then you are thrown into that like you make pakoras. So those who take away the wealth of the Brahmana, Brahmadaya Bharana, so they, the kings and the family members, they have to suffer like that. Tavato abda, abda means years. Sabdan nirankusha. So that is the suffering. So keep this in mind. So it is being told here in advance, Salish, then don't say later on that it is not justified. So remember this. So Rajkulyaha Rajkul Parshuta ye Brahmaswam abhimanyante te niriyam narkyam eva abhimanyante to balisha agyatmapatam chakshate. So those people who are born in this royal family and they desire the wealth of the Brahmanas, so that he says it is as good as if they are desiring to go to hell. Desiring Brahmanas' wealth means desiring to go to hell. And these days there are more Brahmanas than before. Right? Many more Brahmanas are coming, so better be careful. Swadattam pardattam va brahmvrittim haret chaya shashti varsahasrani visthayam jayate krimi. And if you have given wealth to somebody and then you take it away from him, or somebody else gave the wealth to the Brahmana and you snatch it away, so it doesn't matter whose wealth is, whether you gave it or somebody else gave, because once it is given to him, it is his. So if you do that, then you become a worm in the stool for 60,000 years. See the time span. Make a note of it. न मे ब्रह्म धनं भूयात् यद् गृध्वाल्पायुषो नराः पराजिताश्च्युता राज्यात् भवन्ति उद्वेजिनो अहयः. So Krishna himself is saying that I do not want the wealth of a Brahmana at any cost. He says anyone who even desires to have it will lose his lifespan. He will be defeated in the war. He will fall down from his post of as a king, and then after death he will become snake. Udvejino, snake, who are always troubled. Snakes are always very much troubled, cannot be peaceful. in one place. So yad gridva abhikanksha api kimuth ritva. And this happens only if you desire it. Then what to speak of if you actually take it away. Vipram kritagatam. Kritagatam or kritagasam? Is it agatam or agasam? It should be agasam, there is no agatam. He has agatam in both places. So vipram kritagasam api naiva druhyata mamaka ghanantam bahu shapantam va namaskurta nityashaha. Now this will not be digested by modern mind at all. This is too problematic to digest this one. He says that even if a Brahmana offends you, still don't become upset with him. My dear children, Mamaka. Mamaka Pandavasya, saying Mamaka. Even if he hits you, don't react. Even if he curses you, just bow down to him and don't react. He says this is nityasa, this is eternally under all conditions. This is Krishna speaking, and Krishna himself was like that. Remember that story, I think from Skanda Purana, when Durvasa Muni came once near Dwarka, and then Krishna came to know. So he went there with Rukmani and paid respect to Durvasa Rishi, and then he said, please come have lunch at my place. So Durvasa agreed, but on one condition. He says, I will come if I sit in a bullock cart, and you and Rukmani both pull it and take me to your home. So now Krishna, who is the Lord of three universes, is pulling the cart. And other one side is Rukmani, other side is Krishna. Now Krishna, okay, he is a cowherd boy, he drank milk, ate butter, he is strong, he is athletic. But poor Rukmani, she is not an athlete. So after some time she got tired and became thirsty. So she asked Krishna that I am very thirsty, I need water. So Krishna kicked the ground and water came out and she drank. And when Durvasa saw this, he got so angry. He says, how dare you drink the water without my permission? He says, now you stay here and Krishna, you take me. And Krishna did this peacefully. And then there is a whole story when he was given sweet rice, he's putting on his body and all types of pranks he was playing. But Krishna was very peaceful, he did not become angry. And he is the true Brahmanya Deva. Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahman Hitaja. So what he is saying, he also practices that. He did not become angry at Durvasa, although he was trying to trouble in so many different ways. So that's why I say that no matter what the Brahmana does, just tolerate it. So this is very difficult. This is not justice at all. Nanu vipraheva asmakam yadi dhanam haret vinayeva pradham dishyadva kim karyam itapekshayamaha. So now this is the question which was asked by Krishna Das, but in a wrong way. He says, what if the Brahmana himself takes away your wealth? And without any reason is full of hatred towards you. So what you should do? So Krishna says here that, Hey Mamaka, iti ye kechan madhya bhavanti tanapi pratyadishami na kevalam yusman eveti अन्यथा tu teshu maya mamkatva bhimanas tyaktavyeti bhava. So he is saying that don't envy them, don't become angry with them, pay respect to them. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that here he is using the word mamaka. Mamaka means my. So he says it, my here does not refer only to his children, right? Like Dhritarashtra is saying mamaka, kima kurvata Sanjaya, mamaka pandavaschaiva. So he says mamaka is only also for those devotees who think they belong to Krishna. So they should also not do it. Otherwise, don't think that you belong to him. So if you don't act like this, he says, then their thinking that they belong to me has no meaning. It is meaningless. So this is instruction to all devotees also. Yathaham praname vipran anukalam samahitah tathanam tayuyam cha yonithase me sadanda bhak. He says that just as I bow down to Brahmanas regularly with attentive mind, in the same way you should also bow down to them. And one who does not follow this, such a person is punished by me. Same danda bhak. So he is favoring Brahmanas so much here. So praname means pranamami. Brahmanartho hi aprito hartaram patiyatyadha ajanantam api hi yona nirgam brahmana gauriva. He says one who takes away the wealth of the Brahmana, that wealth itself will make that person fall down. He says that even if he does it unknowingly, this will happen. And the example is Nriga here, who has donated a cow which belonged to a Brahmana, although he himself gave it, and then he has to suffer for that. Evam Vishravya Bhagwan Mukundo Dwarakaukashaha Pavanaha Sarvalokanam Vivesha Nij Mandiram. So in this way, instructing his children, Bhagwan Mukunda, the giver of liberation, and instructing other residents of Vraja, he who purifies the whole planet then entered into his palace. So iti Śrīmad-Bhāgavate Mahapurane Paramahansyam Samhitayam Vaiyasikyam Dasam Skande Nirvaupakhyanam Nam Chatushashti Adhyaya. This ends the 64th chapter of 10th canto, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Kevalam Arthavad Avibhishakayam Kintu Ayam Artha Prataksha Eva Na Kevalam Arthavad Avibhishakayam. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says that this statement of Krishna is not just to scare you, it is not an Arthavad statement. There are statements which are like exaggerations, and they do not have real meaning in them. What is said is not what is meant, but it's just to give importance or to scare you so that you don't do that. So he says that this statement should not be considered like that, that it just doesn't mean what is being said. It is true. And how? What is the proof of it? He said the proof is the story of Nriga itself. Nriga, king, he did not do any mistake knowingly. He did not take away the wealth of the Brahmana. It happened unknowingly, but still he has to suffer. So therefore this is not an Arthavada statement. These are not some exaggerated statements to scare you, but they are true to their words. They have true meaning. Iti sarartha darshinyam harshinyam bhakta chetsam chatushashti tamodhyaya dasmeya jani sangata. So this is the end of Sarartha Darshini on 64th chapter of 10th canto. Purushottam Prabhu.
I have two questions. First one is easier. When we refer to Brahmana, is it Brahmana practically true by the birth in present context, or is it Brahmanas by guna and karma, or how do we really know what Brahmana is in that sense?
Well, when the word is used, it obviously means that he is Brahmana by character and also by birth. He has the designation of Brahmana in the society, Varnashram system. There was no such Brahmanas before that they were created. Now you have Brahmanas who are made Brahmanas. So he is talking about the time when that was not the system. It's like he is a Kshatriya. Who is a Kshatriya? He was born in a Kshatriya family. He also has character of a Kshatriya. Arjuna is a Kshatriya. As he said that Dhatanya Kshatriyas Anyam na vidyate.
So both has to be there basically, the birth and the character.
Yes. But
The second question
if it is not character, still don't take away the wealth.
Yes, to be safe side.
Yeah. Doesn't give. Otherwise, people will say, well, he is not really a Brahmana. So it's fine. So means here, those who are called Brahmana in society, otherwise who is going to not check the character and this and that?
Second question, I am not still clear the way you have explained this Mamakatvam Abhimana Tattvavyam. Can you please explain it a little more? I'm not clearly understanding.
No, Mamka generally means his children or his relatives.
Yes.
As the word is used in first verse of Bhagavad Gita. So when
Yes.
Dhritarashtra is saying Mamaka, to whom is he referring Mamaka? Basically to his sons.
Yes.
So he says that here it is not only referring to his sons, but devotees also say there are devotees who think we belong to him, and there are devotees who think Krishna belongs to them. Right?
Yes, Mani and Tadiyam.
Yeah. So those who are Tadiya Bhaktas, they are also part of Mamaka.
Okay.
So then he's saying that if they don't listen to this instruction, because one may say, well, he is giving this instruction only to his children and it's not applicable to us. So then he says, those who are Tadiya Bhaktas, if they don't follow this, then they are no more Tadiyas. Because they are not listening to him. And he is not going to identify them as his own if they don't listen to him. It's like if you have a son and he doesn't listen to you, he goes against you, then you disown him.
Yes.
So therefore he says, I will disown him.
Okay, thank you.
Krishnadas, you have some more money to
Yes, Babaji.
lend or what?
No. Actually, I always commit this mistake when I don't want to frame the question properly for don't take time. So here's the thing. You have been answered my question partly. I also didn't want to ask the question of what happened in Brahma takes, because in my case, he didn't tell me that I take and I will not return. There is some tension in the middle. And in this process of tension, actually, my worry is that people who knows the matter, maybe my family members or someone else, who knows the matter, they may start to think wrongly about this Brahmin, which is something I don't want to happen.
So tell them, what is the problem?
Yeah, so in this predicament, my decision usually is like, okay, let's give it as donation, don't think he'll take it back.
Yeah.
But actually this donation is tamasic, right? Because I didn't want to give donation from the beginning. because I kind of take it back,
So-
then I give it.
So don't say it, donation, just say that no need to return to me. Do you want some benefit of donation, or you just want that you're, so that's all. So what is the problem? Just say no problem. Keep it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay, but it's correct to avoid that other people around me, my family or other people, think bad about the Brahmin by the statement you have been done right now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Babaji.
Salish.
When it was when if someone takes the property of the Brahmana, then not only he suffers, but also his previous and future generations, a certain number of them.
Yeah. Because in the olden time, traditionally, we see, you have to understand one thing very clearly, that some of these things are not applicable now. Because your son may not care about you. Once he grows up and he's 18 or whatever, then he may not even think that this is my father or this is my mother. Many children are like that. So in olden time, it was not like that. They were very much aligned, like Arjuna was so much worried about Luptapindodaka Kriya, right? So he's worried about his lineage. So in those days there was a connection from the heart, from their feelings. And this is my father, this is my grandfather, this is great-grandfather, and down the line also. So there was a lineage, there was a link between one generation to another generation. So then their karma gets shared. How does karma get shared? When you actually think of somebody as yours. You have your family and you consider them as your wife and your son. So if something happens to them, good or bad, you share it. If something good happens to them, you feel happy. If something bad happens to them, you feel distressed. But then you have a neighbor next door and something happens to them, you don't care. Because you are not involved with them emotionally. And same thing can also happen to some of your family members who are your family members, but emotionally you are not connected to them. Then you don't share their karma with you. So when you get emotionally linked up, which was the case in family previous days, so then you share your emotions. That's how it happens. So you get influenced by their karma and their karma also influences you. Now most people are like individual units floating around. They are very much, now people are very individualistic. So their karma is also very individualistic. So then these types of things will not apply there. This generation, that generation. You get married, then you take divorce, then the wife is marrying somebody, husband is marrying somebody else, then they have their children, then they get divorced again, then they get married. So now these children don't know whether this is the mother, this is the father, where is the lineage. So these things don't work. And then Yamaraj will be very confused, He has to trace, where's the line going, Now which generation to take, the first wife, and then the second wife and their children, and the generation of the first wife and their children, and the generation of the second. So now the 10 generation will be counted now, they will become 20 generations. So it will be too complicated.
Even within the number of generations, this karma somehow gets shared.
Yeah, well, this is scientifically proven that the DNA works like that, it influences up to few generations. 3 generations is more intense, 7. After 7 it goes little weak. Okay. Yes. Purushottam Prabhu, you have more, or your hand is from the past? Okay. Hand disappears.
I'd like to know whether taxation is also a form of taking wealth of brahmanas, and maybe that's why Krishna spoke to his sons, because they are supposed to raise taxes.
Generally brahmanas, they were free from tax. A statement comes, I think, in 4th canto, somewhere. Brahmanas were not taxed because they don't earn money. So how will you tax them? Even these days also, there's certain limit. The taxation begins only after that. So they were always below the limit. There may be few exceptions. So there can be exceptions to the rule. Okay.
I had a similar question regarding what they already asked of which type of Brahman they're talking about, but just I'm thinking to make it more practical and try to apply that in our lives. So should we take that special care also maybe with people who are not Brahmins, or maybe especially with Vaishnavas would have the same effect?
So now this question to deliberate on it. That if Krishna is speaking like this about Brahmanas, and then we know that Vaishnavas are even more dear to Krishna than Brahmanas. So certainly this rule applies to Vaishnavas even more intensely. So you should never take away the wealth of a Vaishnava, because for that there is no hell even. You will lose your bhakti. That is worse punishment than anything else. So therefore we should not, first of all, we should not take away anybody's wealth. There is a sloka, pardravya parhimsam parpatning yo matim na karoti bhupale toshate tena keshava. That one who does not take others' wealth, others' wife is also taken away. It is not something new. And also, who is not violent to others. Then Krishna is very quickly pleased by such a person. So there it is no question of Brahmana or Vaishnava, anybody's. Why should we take someone else's wealth, especially a Vaishnava? So that will not be pleasing to Krishna. So we should not take anybody's wealth. The principle. But if that someone is Brahmana or a Vaishnava, then it is being shown that that is very, very sinful. Means there is more reaction than if it is the wealth of someone else. And don't take away the wealth of a Kshatriya, because he will fight. So he will give you hell while you are living here itself. Okay. Okay, so we'll stop here.